Hello, and thank you for joining us on Tech 24. I'm Julia Seeger. Coming up in this edition, we'll tell you all about the Solar Impulse 2, which is currently in the second leg of a 35,000-kilometer journey to prove that flying long distances fueled by renewable energy is possible. We'll also talk about virtual reality in the wake of the Game Developers Conference in San Francisco. And we'll test the VR for G3 headset that LG is virtually giving away for free to owners of the company's flagship phablet. From the Wright brothers to Amelia Earhart, the history of aviation is rich in pioneers who dared to dream and push boundaries. Today, two more innovators, Bertrand Piccard and André Borschberg, have set off from Abu Dhabi on a journey that could change the way we think about flying forever. Their aim, go around the world aboard Solar Impulse 2, a single-seater plane whose only source of power is from the sun. Charlotte Hawkins has the story.
Off to a flying start. Day and night, the Solar Impulse 2 will make its way around the world, powered only by the sun's rays. For the Swiss pilots André Borschberg and Bertrand Piccard, this is the payoff after 12 years of research.
To be able to fly with the solar energy only, we needed an airplane so big, and we needed an airplane which a total weight not exceeding the weight of a family car.
A primitive design, but a revolutionary concept. Its 4 electric engines are powered by 17,000 solar cells attached to its wings. On the 9th of March, the aircraft took off successfully from Abu Dhabi Airport. A short stop in Oman, then the pilots entered the record books by travelling nearly 1,500 kilometres to Ahmedabad in India. For 25 days over the course of 5 months, the pilots will take turns flying the Solar Impulse at a maximum of 8,500 metres, sometimes spending days in a cockpit that's not only cramped but also unpressurised. Neither pilot will be able to sleep for longer than 20 minutes at a time, when they'll rely on technology to keep them safe.
This is what you see in my arms. So if I do turns which are steeper than 5 degrees, this will be vibrating.
The pilots aim to cover 35,000 kilometres in 12 steps, crossing 3 continents and 2 oceans, at a cruising speed of 50 to 100 kilometres per hour.
For more on alternative fuel sources used in transportation, let's turn to our in-house expert, Dan J. Kadalkar. Thanks for being with us.
It's a pleasure, Julia, as always.
Dan, Solar Impulse 2 isn't the only solar-powered machine that will be doing an around-the-world venture.
That's right. About 3 years ago, there's this project called Planet Solar, in which a catamaran powered by the sun, just similar to Solar Impulse 2, it completed the journey around the world. And it's not just that, it also did a very fast transatlantic voyage, fast for a solar-powered boat. The principle behind the catamaran is similar to Solar Impulse 2. The catamaran has an impressive array of photovoltaic cells, or the solar cells. There are around 29,000 solar cells up on top of the deck of this catamaran, and they generate electricity, which in turn powers the 2 propellers that finally deliver the power to the catamaran. So yeah, it's something similar, but except that it was done on high seas.
And Dan, these 2 examples won't be commercialized anytime soon. What are the alternative fuel technologies that will be hitting the market soon?
Well, Julia, before I answer this question, let me ask you a question for a change.
Sure.
We know that the sun powers these 2 machines, but do you know what powers the sun?
Let's say hydrogen?
That's right. Hydrogen is the most abundant element in the universe, and it's quite natural that it finally finds, or some companies finally find it as a source of fuel. So, for example, the Japanese car manufacturer Toyota is it's already started rolling out cars which use hydrogen as a fuel. In its new model called Mirai, there's a hydrogen tank, and this hydrogen is made to combine or mix with air containing oxygen, and the combination of hydrogen and oxygen generates electricity, which in turn powers the car. Of course, the obvious advantage of this car is that there's a great saving on fuel. You don't use fossil fuel. At the same time, the exhaust gases, you know what comes out of the exhaust? It's water. It's pure water.
Steam.
So yeah, exactly. So the greenhouse effect is also lowered if you use this car. So there's there are plenty of advantages of using alternative fuels such as hydrogen in the car. Another car manufacturer, this time from France, has used the concept of air hybrid vehicles. So what they have basically done is they have combined two engines. One is the conventional petrol engine and the other is the air pump. So what it does is it has a tank of compressed air which, depending on the mode you choose, it powers the car. Again, it enables to save a lot of fuel. At the same time, it also helps to reduce the emission of greenhouse gases. So these are the technologies that have already been demonstrated successfully, and in the case of Toyota, it has already been starting to enroll, and hopefully we'll see this air hybrid coming out on the market as well.
So Dan, if I'm getting this right, soon we'll be flying thanks to solar power, we'll be driving around thanks to hydrogen, and perhaps one day we'll be creating electricity just by walking around town.
Yes, Julia, in a literal sense, we'll be now going for power walks. There's this British company called PaveGen, which has pioneered the technology of generating electricity using tiles. What it does is it uses the principle of piezoelectric effect. So piezoelectric effect is basically, it happens when a certain material gets compressed. So for example, quartz, when it gets compressed, it generates electric charge. And using this principle and induction, these tiles are able to generate electricity. I think it was 2 years ago that these tiles were used at the Paris Marathon. And since then, it's becoming popularized. They're being used in other places around the world. So hopefully this will also become a popular means of generating electricity.
Thanks for that, Dan. Some 25,000 people have descended upon San Francisco to show off the latest technologies and video games at the Game Developers Conference. And this year's edition has proved once again that the future of the industry lies in the world of virtual reality. Rebecca Bowering reports.
Virtual reality headset makers are out in force at GDC, aiming to lure the developers who can animate their devices with absorbing new games. Oculus VR still plans to pursue high-end PC-tethered headsets, but says mobile VR will soon hit the mainstream. Samsung's portable headset, powered by Oculus technology, Gear VR, looks likely to become a consumer product by the end of the year. Other players in the sector include Sony, which didn't demo its new second-generation Project Morpheus prototype due to hardware shortages. Graphics chip company Nvidia is rumoured to be working on a headset, and Chinese smartphone maker HTC is developing one with Valve. It's a race for commercial viability in an untested market.
Virtual reality certainly promises to offer some new angles on gaming and new perspectives, no pun intended. But whether or not it's actually going to translate into major sales or major interest from the mainstream is yet to be determined. We're still in the early days, even after 20 years, if you would believe.
Xbox creator Microsoft's latest gaming project, HoloLens, is not virtual but augmented reality, where a graphics layer is superimposed over the world we see rather than replacing it with full immersion. One startup that's been experimenting with VR and AR is Swiss firm MindMaze, inventors of a platform called MindLeap. These neuro goggles combine cameras and sensors which allow them to track your hands and even monitor your brain activity. They're already being used to help rehabilitate stroke patients.
We can do this in the medical space and have tangible applications, right? And coming back to all the way in a gaming space where it's more immersive, moving from just 2D gaming experiences and eventually into lifestyle kind of devices where you can do other things.
Plenty of small companies are gambling on the success of VR, including New York-based Feel Real. Its Ukrainian co-founders have created a mask that fits onto the Oculus Rift and other headsets, offering a multi-sensory experience. Feel Real's about to launch on Kickstarter, hoping to stir up public interest in the potential of virtual reality.
And speaking of VR headsets, let's move on to our test of the week. LG is teaming up with Google to try to bring virtual reality to the masses. The South Korean electronics company has announced that it'll soon kick off a new promotion that offers a virtual reality headset to new buyers of its G3 flagship smartphone. Dan, LG has finally thrown its hat into the virtual reality ring along with Samsung and HTC. It's becoming clear that virtual reality could be every major company's new technological foray.
That's right, Julia. This is the trend we saw at the recently held Mobile World Congress in Barcelona. With these gorgeous screens coming up recently, it's only natural that companies that make these gorgeous screens will also team up to give a more immersive experience to its users. And LG is just following, as you mentioned, Samsung and HTC in this regard. The G3 headset, I've been trying it for some time, and I'm really impressed with this headset because though it's not very fancy, but the ease with which you can use it and the simplicity and the ease with which you can assemble it, it makes it very impressive. For example, right now I'm taking a tour of the famous Laguna Seca circuit in the US aboard a Mercedes-Benz AMG. This is one of the many apps which are available on the App Store. Of course, the LG G3 is following the blueprint of Google Cardboard. So all the apps which are on Google Cardboard can be watched through these headsets. Would you like to enjoy the experience aboard the latest Mercedes car?
Thank you.
So as the idea of virtual reality headsets becomes more mainstream and companies like HTC, Samsung and other mobile manufacturers start making better screens, I think this will soon catch public imagination and we'll soon see people having, virtually everyone having these VR headsets because it's not so expensive. As you mentioned, the G3 VR headset is being given away free as a part of promotion for the flagship phablet. So yeah, I think this is the future of gaming, this is the future of entertainment on mobile phones.
Very well. Thanks for that, Dan. Well, that's all we have time for, but don't forget you can get in touch with us on Facebook or on Twitter. Our hashtag is Tech24. And today we leave you with these pictures of Dubai's latest big-budget attraction, the Museum of the Future. The facility is expected to open in 2017 and is set to celebrate innovation in all its forms. Thanks for watching. I'll see you soon.